UDP use source and destination port numbers to keep TCP and UDP use source and destination port numbers to keep track of application conversations. Every network application is identified by the transport protocol using a well-known port number. The source port number is associated with the application that originated the request, known as the client computer. The destination port number is usually a well-known port number associated with the destination application on the remote device, the server computer. In this example, the user has entered the URL www.netacad into their web browser. The web browser is sending the information using the network application protocol HTTP, which uses the transport protocol TCP. The user's operating system has selected the TCP source port 1024 to refer to any communications coming from this specific web browser window or process. It is also using the well-known TCP destination port 80, so the www.netacad.com web server knows this data is for its HTTP application. After receiving the request from the client, when the www.netacad.com web server sends the client the data it has requested, it will be sent from its TCP source port 80, in other words, from its HTTP application. When sending the data to the client, the server will use the client's TCP source port as the TCP destination port, in this case, port 1024. This is so the client knows which specific application, the specific web browser window or tab, this data is intended for. If the client opens up a separate browser window, in this case, entering the URL www.cisco.com, a different TCP source port number will be associated with this specific web browser window. In this case, TCP source port 1555. Although the HTTP request message will be sent to a different server, the same well-known TCP destination port number of 80 is used to indicate this is for the HTTP application. When the www.cisco.com web server sends the specific client the data it has requested, it will be sent from its TCP source port 80, its HTTP application. The server will use the client's TCP source port as the TCP destination port, port 1555. When the client receives this information, it examines the destination port number to know which browser window the data is intended for.